Hey, thank you for joining us today. I wanted to talk a little bit about Nobel's purpose, helping clinicians treat more patients better, and how the products and the services that we, together with the doctors out there in the world, can provide to patients to create a better life for them. I'm joined today by Dr. Ana Ferro, who are based out of Lisbon in Portugal. And you have a long history with Nobel, and you've specialized in perio. You're a head of surgery at the MALO CLINIC, and you're also the teacher of the Lisbon University and a key speaker for Nobel. You're also a board member of FOR, which is a foundation that is completely focused on excellence in education and implantology. You have two daughters, and I also happen to know that you love to surf. So thank you for joining me today. First of
Thank
all,
you.
um, how long have you been working with Nobel Biocare products, and how was your first contact with our products and our business?
Well, Patrick, I graduated in 2004 and I joined the MALO CLINIC in 2005 in June. And well, that was basically when I started to work with Nobel Biocare. For me, it was a very impressive moment when I joined the MALO Clinic because it was the 1st of June of 2005, and that week we had the Nobel Biocare Symposium going on in Las Vegas, so on the other side of the world. And so for me, it was an incredible week because I just had got out from university, and in my last year, I had, for example, a patient that touched me a lot. That was an Edetless patient with a lot of roots, and university it's very difficult. Everything takes a lot of time, and basically through taking all the roots out and doing pre-prosthetic surgery and everything. Well, it came to the end of the year, and the patient did not get out with the removable dentures. So I felt very sad, and I felt that for me, I couldn't do more for that patient, and that was something that touched me a lot. And when I joined the Malo Clinic in the first week, I saw, basically, I saw in 30 minutes someone who was a dentalist to get fixed teeth. And for me, this wasn't something that someone told me. This was I saw with my own eyes, and it was impressive. And from that moment, I knew three things. That first, I wanted to be part of that team. Second, that I had to learn how to do this as quickly as possible, to treat my patients that way. And third, that I had an obligation to teach that to more dentists as possible, so that more patients could afford from this kind of treatment. Basically, this was my first approach with Nobel Biocare.
Oh, that's great to hear. It's always very rewarding when we have a chance to improve a patient's life somewhere in the world. And you've talked about the importance of doing that and being purpose driven in doing it too. Can you help me understand a little bit more? How do you do that, and how do the products that comes from Nobel Biocare fit into the ability for you and other clinicians to help a patient like that?
Well, yes, when we look at these patients that basically they are wearing removable dentures for a long time, when they start to lose a tooth, basically this is a very early sign of aging, and you have very young patients without teeth, and they start to feel old. They start to lack their self-confidence. They start to feel ashamed. They don't go out to restaurants. They don't like to eat. They start to lose basically their self-esteem and their self-confidence. And then suddenly it is basically from one day to the other. By providing them with fixed teeth, with implants, you change patients' lives. You restore that self-confidence. I think they gain like they look 20 years younger. It's unbelievable. And this is, of course, through also the Nobel Biocare products that I use. I think this was, I remember perfectly when I started to do this was 15 years ago, that I had a lot of peers that I worked in university, and they all said that this was impossible. And I said, come on, it's not impossible. I do it every day. I see it with my own eyes. What do you need more? So this was because if the main focus is not about you and about your patient, then you feel confidence, even if you are doing something that everybody is still criticizing.
Oh, that's great. Thanks for. So how come what is it that Nobel Biocare does differently? Why did you select Nobel Biocare, and what's your experience with the
Well,
products from us?
what I love about Nobel Care that differentiates from the other brands. It's that basically Nobel Care has always been a company that it's very research, development, and education driven. And this is very important for us because I always have in mind that I cannot give. Well, sometimes we can give no for an answer, but nothing is impossible. Which means that during my surgeries or during our clinical procedures, and whenever we have a difficulty, whenever we are facing something new that we have some problem in trying to overcome it, we see this always as a challenge, and we start to think what kind of product should we develop to overcome this challenge. Imagine very soft bone. How can I have a good stability in this soft bone? Should I try to develop longer implants? Why the implants? Should the drill protocol be another type of drill protocol? So it's always a type of how can we overcome this? And Nobel Biocare has always been our partner in this, meaning that every time that we need, okay, we should design a new prototype. We get this from Nobel Biocare, and we go hand by hand in the clinical studies and everything, trying to bring things that were impossible 10 years ago being possible today. And basically Nobel Biocare helps us doing this every day. It's
Thank
it.
you. Well,
Welcome.
thank you very much for that.
Yes, I
Out of
think
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think that one thing that for me that it's very important is, and I think this is something that for me it's very important of Novel Care is that the majority of the doctors that work in Novel Care, they see Novel Care as the brand which has helped them to develop themselves, to develop their business, and not just being another commercial brand just to sell implants. And this is very important because if you feel that Nobel Care cares about their customers, helping them to learn more, to know about new products, to know how correctly to use them through all the education that you give with your key opinion leaders and with your Nobel Care speakers, this is really crucial, and this is what Nobel Care differentiates itself from the other brands.
Great. So maybe one last question for you, Dr. Ferro, before we
Yes.
finish today. You're a teacher and an educator, and you're helping other doctors learn more about the techniques that you and others have developed. We've just recently, and we're in the middle of it now, in a pandemic situation, and a lot of the way education is delivered has changed dramatically. Or has it stopped, or has it continued, or how do you see on education now during this pandemic situation?
Well, in my opinion, I think education has become more important than ever. I think it changed completely the way that I would say, I do not know the numbers, but I will say that before the pandemic, we were having like 80% of the courses being delivered in presential form, and I would say 20% online. And now it's exactly the opposite. So I think that people have realized now they have more time. They started to learn more. They feel more open to learn. They have seen now that it can bring afterwards more customers. They can help better their patients. And this is very important. We changed our way. For example, we are now doing live surgeries through YouTube or through Microsoft Teams, and but yeah, I think that actually the part of education has actually increased. Of course, more online, not so much presential. We know that the presential form of education is more effective in changing your customers into doers, so to say, because with all the hands-on practice and all the inspiration from the speaker. But I think it will continue a lot, in my opinion, for this year on.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ferro, and thank you for taking the time today. Thanks for the partnership with Nobel for all of these years, and we're looking forward to a prosperous future together. And thank you for what you do to help a patient to a better life every day.
Of course. Thank you, Patrik.
Thanks.